Hello, hello, hello. How's everyone doing? Thank you, Dan. Good to see you, mates. Oh, here we go. Here we go. Another session underway. What does FP2 have in store for us? Of course, we already saw what happened with Charles Leclerc. The XP, mister, it's just something new that YouTube's doing to try and drive engagement in chat, so in live streams. I'm not against it. So the more that you engage, like, chat, etc., you get like the #1 spot, basically. Hey, Planet Nate Show, good to see you guys. Welcome, welcome. Hope your Saturday, getting ahead of myself there. Friday is treating you well. Let's see if the teams have been able to sort out the issues that they were experiencing in FP1. That's what's going to be intriguing for me. Of course, lots of twitchiness, lots of off tracks, lots of excursions over the grass. Let's see if they're able to fix that. Will there be Charles Leclerc in FP2? No. Sorry, guys. There'll be no Charles Leclerc for FP2. He has done significant damage to the chassis of the car. So, yes, that car is not okay for today. So, Charles Leclerc's Friday running is very limited, of course, only participating in less than 15 minutes until he stuck it in the wall. So, he'll be back tomorrow, FP3, no doubt. But, yeah, not enough time for them to replace everything that's required on that car. So... It's only 2 AM for you. Lovely. It's early. There we go. There we go. Ready to rock and roll. But yes, welcome everyone. Hope you're good. Hope you're good. Hope your Friday's been treating you well. Yes, if you missed FP1, what was the highlights? Well, as we mentioned, Charles Leclerc brought out the red flag. He crashed into turn 3. Lots of lockups we saw earlier on. Montreal, very unique. It's more so about managing the tyre temperatures, thermal degradation in the rear of the car, on the rear tyres, and of course we have the C6 here as well. So the C6 is very, very, very soft, and we're seeing that issue from the teams trying to balance, of course, getting the temperature in the front tyres, which is very difficult around here, but also managing the rears. So yeah. ALV, give SF in a where to go when you can. It's amazing. Yeah, I will do, buddy. I will do this at some point this weekend. It is my plan. I downloaded all the updates earlier, so. Any prizes for #1 spot? I don't think so. No. I have to check on my... I'll have to check to see... on YouTube anywhere if there is like an overall, like... if you're like overall #1 or something, like how many times you've had #1. So don't spam, because you will, of course. Nightbots is always watching. He's always watching. But yeah, let's see what this session has in store for us. Track temperature is 41.2 degrees. Come down a little bit from what we saw earlier, but still a lot hotter than I was expecting it to be. Where's the session start? There we go. 9 minutes. 9 minutes until it starts. It would be cool, actually, if you got a special emoji. Yeah. As I said, it's new to me. I'll have to have a little Google and little search on my analytics and stuff and see if there's any like leaderboard. Yeah, he's always watching Nightbot. What's my say on Williams on the next McLaren? What, as in like they are... What, the next... do you mean as in making their way up the grid and becoming like the leaders, the best cars? Is that what you think? This season, no. I don't think so. Maybe next year. Nah, he's got #1. There you go. Most improved. Yeah, I mean, they definitely... I think they are the most improved. I think we can agree on that. I think McLaren were already at the top. I mean, who's made a bigger improvement since last season? No one, I don't think. I think Williams have made the best improvement. So, yeah. Will they be able to continue that trajectory into 2026? Maybe. I mean, James Vowles, I think, has got a lot to do with that. So, hopefully, with a lot of resource being put into 2026, like most teams are, I think, yeah, they'll be able. I think they'll be on good footing to start the new regs. The next few seasons, Loif, is just a complete unknown. No one knows. But I think if you look at the trajectory of Williams, James Vowles has definitely come in there and made a difference. He's changed things. He's like operationally, he came from Mercedes. He saw that they were using old manufacturing resources like machines and so forth. So he's just massively improved how they operate as a team, and that has translated to on the track. So yeah, I think if they're on that trajectory, I don't see why they wouldn't continue to be on that in 2026. It will mostly depend on the engine though, which of course is Mercedes. So you're waiting for Albon Carlos rivalry when the time comes. I think so. Yeah, that's one to keep an eye on for sure. I think Carlos Sainz will get up to speed eventually. I mean, he arguably has done to some extent, but yeah, still a lot left to be desired for Sainz in relation to Albon's performances. But then Albon's also raised his game as well, I think. Begging Ferrari learn to build engines again. Fingers crossed. Yeah, fingers crossed. As soon as Williams do well, we get a reg change. Yeah, it's going to be an intriguing one. I still think from what I've read, like the regs are still a little bit up in the air in relation to what is actually going to happen with like the power units and so forth. I don't know. It's going to be a very interesting 2026. Ford and Red Bull. Josh says no, Max, no. Yeah. So last I heard, the rumblings that I'd heard, not that I've got credible sources, but the rumblings that I heard were that, yeah, the Ford engine wasn't looking good. They were having a lot of issues behind the scenes because they were able to start working on the engines a lot sooner than the aero side of things. Didn't know NASCAR was at Mexico City this weekend. Is it? They go Mexico City? NASCAR goes in Mexico City? How's that work out? Vasseur needs mechanic lessons. Well, he's not the one getting on the getting the spanner out, is he? Hey, well, 2:26 a.m. Welcome, buddy. Welcome for stand up. Hopefully, hopefully we can have an interesting FP2 session for you. At least an interesting conversation and back and forth as we always do in these practice sessions. And there's not always a lot to keep an eye out on, but yeah, from what we saw in FP1, I think it's going to be an interesting session. You say jump, I say how high. Jossie says shunt, Max. I think they went there last year, actually, Taco, now I think about it. Or maybe this is new for this year. Have I heard the interview? Hadjar says he says he's scared and like, I'm only 9 races in when asked to get into Red Bull car. Yeah, no, I didn't sound scared, but he had a very measured response, in my personal opinion. And he's just saying, I don't want to be moved up too soon. And I think that's the right decision for him and brave of him to say so and go, don't chuck me in that second seat. I don't think it would ever happen this season because I think the Honda cash that is been given to Red Bull for Yuki Tsunoda to be promoted there would be no doubt probably removed or something. And I don't think they would risk Hadjar's development now. They've already seen what they did with Lawson. They're not going to do the same with Hadjar by any means. So long way to go in this season. Hadjar's on great form. It's brave of him to say so and go, no, I think I want to develop here. Let's get a season under my belt, and then next season, as we've mentioned many a time, 2026 could be the best time to move to Red Bull with a brand new set of regs. The car isn't necessarily developed around Max because it's all completely new, and it could be a good time for him to get into Red Bull, or one of those drivers. Leclerc going to be on a back foot all weekend. To an extent, yes. Yeah, to an extent. There's going to be a lot of pressure on Hamilton's shoulders to gather the data necessary. But Charles can have a session tomorrow at FP3 and he'll be probably hooked up. So exactly. Leave the lad alone. Leave him where he is. No, Leclerc's car is not fixed yet, TC. He is not going to participate in this session. There's too much damage to his car. Chassis damage, Fred Vasseur has confirmed. So it's a bit more of a bigger operation to remove all the parts and so forth. And not enough time to do so, so he'll be back tomorrow. What about Arvid's super license? What's their plan with him? So they rate Arvid Lindblad very highly. As high as Max Verstappen when he was coming through the ranks. He has been given, obviously, a super license because of course, people think it's because of Max. If Max was given a racing ban, Hadjar would probably step up to take the Red Bull seat, and then Arvid Lindblad could do an RB seat. That's probably why. But it's also primarily to do testing, to be the rookie. Like, test rookie. You can't do the rookie sessions unless you've got the required super license points. So it's kind of like double whammy there, because they've been, my understanding is that they've been looking for this for quite some time, before Max's penalty points even became an issue. So I think, yeah, they was always looking for him to do the tests, like the rookie tests that you can do in the season. He's their next Max, basically. Red Bull really are cooked if Max is banned. I think they're cooked anyway, to be honest with you. Not made a good car, have they? But Max could still be within the championship. I know he's like quite some way off, but all it takes is for Norris and Piastri to collide one time or have a mechanical issue. We've seen the Mercedes engine have issues already, although I imagine McLaren are probably running that engine not as highly tuned, and they're different cooling packages compared to Mercedes. But yeah, plenty of things can happen between now and the end of the season. Ferrari lack quality leadership in the garage. Yeah, I don't know. Or maybe it's probably just too much involvement from the higher ups. They've always been very, they can't leave you alone. They have to always get involved, the higher ups. So a few hours to the pub, then yeah, you can go to dinner early. You think Arvid directly in Red Bull instead of promoting Hadjar will be better? I feel. I don't know. Maybe if that's what they feel like, but I don't know. I don't think so. Not now. Not these days. I think if they've got that junior team, it's best for them to do it that way. Why are they again bending rules for under 18 driver, getting Max's on pint to race ban, but it doesn't make sense? I think it's only because what they've seen of him in F2. And secondly, as we do have green light, exit is open, I do also think Red Bull have quite a significant sway over the FIA. I think they really do. I think there is some part of the FIA is scared of Red Bull. And I don't know why. I mean, refusing a super license to a 17-year-old, I guess, don't know what kind of backlash that would get the FIA, but yeah, they definitely have some sway over the FIA, and that's credit to them because half of the game of F1 is politics. So, the fan though, don't talk. By the way, Papaya Collision, please just put the Ferrari gear on this weekend. But we're seeing, as this FP2 session has got underway, the medium compound tyre on a lot of drivers here. So FP1 was all about the C6, the soft compound for this week, as Albon's still using the C6. But we are now seeing the medium, which is the soft compound for last year. So let's see if the drivers fare better on this tyre. Could it be the qualifying tyre tomorrow? Of course, we saw Aston Martin do something. Well, they did do that, didn't they, in the Imola race. They put on a brand new set of mediums, which was just technically the softs of last year, and they got through. So, hey Manil, Biggest fumble was Mert not buying a Manor as a second team. I know. What did someone say about Horner? TC, do I think Horner running Ferrari will make any difference? I don't know. I mean, it would make a difference, but the problem is that Horner going to Ferrari wouldn't solve all their problems, because he's going to a team where 90% of them speak Italian. That's the language they communicate in. He's English. As far as I'm aware, Horner doesn't know fluent Italian. So that would be a big stepping stone for him, or a hurdle. There's also the operational side, as we said. Like, is it really Fred Vassal's fault? Was it Mattia Bonotto's fault? I don't know. It sounds like that there's too much tinkering from the higher ups, rather than, and that filters its way down, rather than just them being allowed to do what they need to do, you know? I mean, the hypercar team seem to do okay, but I think, as far as I'm aware, they're kind of left to their own devices for the most part, because it's not as a high profile. The media and the backlash isn't as high profile as what the F1 team is. Who would be the ideal TP if Freddie's gone by 26? Oh, that's a very good question. I don't know. I really don't know. As long as there's no secretary, Horner should be fine. Drew, you was watching a Schumacher interview talking about Jacques in 97. He said drivers always push to reach the limits in every aspect. Should the stewards have hit Max harder to set standards? Yes. Yeah, because you've now set a precedent that you can drive your car into another and only get a 10-second time penalty. That's the problem. You're then setting a precedent, so a team can then come back and go, oh, hang on a second, you black flagged us there. Why did you black flag us? Max back in Spain didn't get one. He got a 10-second time penalty. But then that also comes down to the fact that we've got different stewards each race weekend, and there's no consistency and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah. But let's see if drivers will go quicker than what we saw this morning, shall we? We saw 1:13.1, I think it was, from Max Verstappen. And, well, the fastest time we saw last year was a 1:12.0 for pole position. Sonoda in there with a 1:15.0. So we'll keep an eye on the lap times and see if anyone has any wiggles. As I'm watching Lewis Hamilton having mid-turn in oversteer. That's not good, is it? Oof, the tyres not being well there. There's too much red tape at Ferrari. It goes to someone at the top, then comes back down, and it's too late. I think that's what the assumption is, Ted. Yes. Yeah. No one's able to take the initiative. It has to be signed off before the decision can actually be approved, you know? Hey, Dusko, good to see you, mates. What'd you miss? Not too much, mate. Just Charles been in it earlier on. I think Lando had aero rakes in, which would have been why testing, which is why they were slow. They were definitely testing out some parts, yes. They've got some new front wing end plates. I saw Connor in Discord. Thank you very much for pointing that out. They also had a lot of rear wing. Well, they're doing a lot of flow vis on the rear wing as well. So they're definitely testing some parts. So yeah, they definitely weren't focused so much on overall pace or like single lap pace in FP1. Oh, don't get me started, mate, on MBS. I know, I saw that. Yeah, he's a dictator, primarily. He's a dictator, and I can see within the next 3 years there being the F1 breaking away from the FIA. Oh, we have a yellow. DRS disabled. Norris, failure, escape road. What's happened here? It's very odd. Has there been contact? Is there debris? Is there something out on track? The fact of it, there's a yellow down there. It's a very odd place. Unless someone's made contact. Or is there just loads of leaves on the track or something? I don't know. And now there's yellow down into turn 10. So who's going very slowly here? Is it Stroll? Oh, Stroll's going very slowly. Has Stroll had a moment? Oh, no. Has Stroll had a moment? Is he pulled over? Is this his wrists? Is this his wrists? There were concerns about him even racing here this weekend because of his wrists. It's too soon. Is it too soon? Is it because of it? What's happened? Or is it just another engine issue because we've seen the Mercedes engine go pop so many times over the last few weekends? Stroll is stopped. There's no yellow flag there, so he must have moved that car over to us. Oh, he's front left. He's tagged the wall, and his front left wheel is in. It's caved in. It's gone. The suspension has gone. Stroll has managed to crash and hit the wall. I presume he's probably done it on the exit of turn 7. But Lance Stroll's front left tyre is broken. He's managed to wheel it. He's managed to drive it away into a safe space. So that's why there was no a very short yellow flag and no red flag. But I presume he's probably had a little snap out of the exit of turn 7, and he's hit the wall, and that's why his front left wheel was just broken. The suspension has just bent in there, and it's completely broken. The wheel's like flopped on top of itself. What has happened with Lance Stroll there? Is my assessment correct? Is my prediction correct? Waiting to see a replay. Hang on, watch him. What did he do? Oh, Stroll. There's no snap of oversteer or anything. He's literally just driven into the wall. Lance Stroll has just literally driven into the wall. No issue. And there's another double, and there's another yellow. We have a double yellow in turn 1 now. What happened there? Was that Behrman clipping the wall? Lance Stroll over-egged it. When I say over-egged it, there was traffic on his inside, and he's literally just driven straight into the wall. No comment. No comment. What happened with Ollie Behrman, by the way? Why was there a double yellow in Sector 1? Was that for Ollie Behrman? Ollie Behrman is letting drivers through. So waiting to see. I mean, man, he should just say goodbye to F1 after this race. I thought I was giving him credit. I was giving him credit that he's on a push lap. He's got his foot down on the throttle, and he's got a bit of snap oversteer because we've seen the cars wiggle about quite a lot here and be twitchy like we saw in FP1. No, he's just driven literally in control of his car straight into the wall. No idea. No idea. Only Lance Stroll knows. Man, yeah. He just drove out wide into the wall. Yeah, I don't understand. I don't understand if you're just joining us. So Lance Stroll is out already. Surely there's better Canadian drivers out there. The thing is, he's not right. Right. He's just not doing himself any favours. People will say, why, like, I think hate's a very strong word, but the criticism of Stroll and the valid criticism of him, because there's a lot of data points of why we should be critical of Lance Stroll, is why, like, it's just justified because he does stuff like this and he doesn't help himself. You take back what you said last stream, Ted. You know, like, someone who's had that many... I genuinely think there's something... I mean, the fact that he's even in an F1 car right now, I think he's wrong. Like, okay, I'm not a medical professional, but I'm pretty sure if you have any sort of surgery on your wrist or any body part for a matter that is essential to you driving a motor vehicle, as Verstappen reports, there's a little bit, the car's a little bit more nervous before all the entries, basically medium and low speed. As Russell goes in with the fastest time we've seen today, by the way. So the track is getting quicker as the track temperature is falling slightly, so maybe helping with those temps. Yeah, I'm not a medical professional, but I'm pretty sure you can't. You've got to be drugged up to the nines, surely. Surely you've got so many painkillers, you're probably having injections into your wrist to try and help it. Like, You had wrist surgery and didn't play golf for drive for 8 weeks. I know. Well, he is a billionaire's son, so he probably has a lot better access to healthcare than what we do, us normies. At the end of the day, but even so, like, unless there's something that us normies don't have access to, like some massive, like some magical serum that just repairs bones. Yeah, I don't know. Peter, am I the only one who would love to see the tyre manufacturers come back to F1, Michelin, Bridgestone and Co, just to make things interesting? I would like to see it, yeah, I think so. But we're locked in with Pirelli for the next, 8 years, something like that. So, none of that NHS waiting list for Stroll, no. Mark Webber loved racing while recovering with broken bones. Was it always in his wrist, though? After Schumacher broke a leg at Silverstone, he had to do full med test prior to return. He brings too much money, though, doesn't he, Stroll? That's the problem. It all comes back down to money. Hey, Glenn, FIA chose profits over safety because if they had banned Max, thousands of people would not attend the race, which would lose millions in ticket sale. I don't think they'd lose millions in Canada, as an example. Or, I mean, if he served a race ban, he would serve it before Zandvoort. So this is obviously the discussion about Zandvoort is, will he receive, if he does something untoward, but does mean he gets should get penalty points, will he be served them, or will he be given them, I guess, and serve a race ban at Zandvoort? I don't think so. In like, money is a lot more powerful than sporting integrity, you know. Signs down into turn 13, by the way. He's going purple in the first and second sector on a set of mediums. What is Signs going to set here? Is he going to be down in the low 112s? Oh no, 113.0. He had a bit of a slow last sector there, Carlos Sainz. That was 8th fastest, so yeah, he lost about 4 tenths there for some reason, as Russell's going quicker again. Interesting, George Russell going quicker and quicker, it seems, on a set of soft tyres. That's interesting. Max Verstappen not really be able to hook a lap up yet, either, as he's complaining about the nervousness of his Red Bull car. No room for error here, as Charles Leclerc found out earlier on, as, well, Lance Stroll also found out. There's no runoff here. It's just concrete walls. Pirelli has done an excellent job for the tyre entertainment. Just pity they make a trash wet tyre for F1. Right. So the tyre, I'm going to dispel a bit of an issue here with the wet tyre and actually defend Pirelli. I can't believe I'm defending Pirelli. The tyre isn't the issue. The problem is that we have a visibility issue. The visibility is tremendously worse since we've gone to the ground effect era cars, because the majority of the downforce is created from the underside of the car, and of course that's just whipping up so much spray that with wet tires they're not feasible anymore. The FIA just kind of goes, no, we're not starting on wets because it's just the visibility is too poor, and then they go on to the intermediates. And the reason why they use intermediates is because that's the conditions they're actually allowed to race in now, because the visibility is just not as bad. So, as Hamilton is saying, I need some help with the last corner, mate. He's struggling a little bit there. I bet Stroll is better paid than Max. Supposedly, he's only paid 3 million. Supposedly. His dad's holding back his wage. We don't know about his trust fund, though, do we? Hopefully Tsunoda does well. Praying that my boy does well. Where is he at the moment, Yuki Tsunoda? P10, where he's been pretty much the last in FP1. Yeah, I mean, Q3. Come on, Tsunoda. You can get into Q3. I think that's obviously what he needs to do. So, what has Pirelli done other suppliers couldn't if they were given the same specifications? Ooh. That's a fair point. Honestly, just give up Djokovic. Just give Djokovic a chance. If he doesn't perform, keep Lance. If Djokovic performs, they're not going to do that though. His dad has bought an F1 team, guys. If you were in Lawrence Stroll's position and you had all that money and you bought your son a team, even if he's dog shit, even if he's terrible, you're still going to have faith in your own son, and you're going to hold on to that your son can do it and he can come good. But I don't think Lance Stroll thinks that he can do it. And he's just doing it for his dad. So... he was watching Fuji 2007 earlier today, and that was a manic downpour. Yeah, I mean, of course, look, when it comes to wet weather, there is a limit. I recommend you guys and have a look. If you want to know what the visibility is like driving in the rain, have a look at Lando Norris's helmet cam when he was at the Brazil Grand Prix last year. When he was following George Russell. Like, balls are still. From all of them. Absolutely all of them. So... Red Bull need to see Tsunoda fighting for some podiums before the season is over. I don't think they do. I don't think they do, John. Thank you for the subs flying in, by the way, guys. Much appreciated. I am seeing them come in and seeing that subscriber count go up. And, of course, you can help support this channel further by becoming a member as well. What was I saying about Red Bull? They don't need him to get on the podium because they probably, and they have done for quite some time, they've written off that second seat. It became a pay seat some time ago, especially when Sergio Perez gave them more money. I mean, I still think Daniel Ricciardo was... I think it was all done and dusted, all agreed, verbally agreed, that Daniel Ricciardo, at the end of last year... when they went to the summer break after Spa... I still think Daniel Ricciardo, it was verbally agreed he was stepping up into that second Red Bull seat and Perez was being demoted or removed. However, what happened is that Perez and his team laid down, they either offered more money or probably both. They offered more money and they went, we've got an airtight contract here. We're not going anywhere. We're sticking this out. And they went, Red Bull went, okay, we're going to have to come out in support of Sergio Perez. And sorry, Danny. I still stand by that Daniel Ricciardo was going to be in that second Red Bull seat after the summer break. But then Perez's team laid down the literal law, probably. Because you just look at the mannerisms, you look how pally they were. All of the PR stuff that weekend at Spa was Daniel Ricciardo and Max, and they left together, almost like hand in hand. And you're like, this is just... I know they get on, but this is them being closer than normal. So, yeah. Fernando Alonso, fastest in the first sector, by the way, guys. I remember Williams' April Fool's prank when they trialed windscreen wipers for Damon Hill's helmet. Hey, Ben, it's crazy irresponsible that they haven't had Djokovic at least run one of these FP sessions in case Lance's surgery didn't. Yeah, I know. I mean, is he even able... Is Djokovic even here this weekend, or is he at Le Mans? I think Djokovic... Is he not racing in Le Mans this weekend? He is, yeah. He's at Le Mans. So he wouldn't be racing here this weekend anyway. Because he's committed to them. Is he driving the Caddy? Is that what he's driving? Is he driving the Cadillac? One of you guys can correct me on that. Will I be watching Le Mans? I'll watch some of it. Yeah, Andy. I'll watch the start of it. I'll watch it. What time does it start UK time? Is it 3? I think it's 2 o'clock, isn't it, UK time? Le Mans start time, UK. Yeah, 2 p.m. Yeah, I'll give it a watch. I did see the qualifying. I saw some of the qualifying highlights. I owned a team and my son was driving was crap. He would be out. They either come up to the mark or work harder to achieve their place. Yeah, but I guess when you've not invested billions of dollars into a team, though, you want to try and see, even if it's your son, see that investment come back. I don't know. Daniel was the only person deserving of that second seat. He's the only person that's been able to challenge Max even in equal and worse machines. Well, I think that Daniel Ricciardo that would have gone into that second seat alongside Max is not the same Ricciardo when he went toe-to-toe with Max. He was a shell of himself, but he might have done better than Perez. I don't know. He probably could have done just as poorly as we saw from Lawson and Tsunoda now, but clearly there's an issue with the development of that second car in particular, and Max only been able to get the best out of it. Understandably, he's a great driver and he's been at the team longer than everyone else. But yeah, I don't know. At the time, it probably would have been commercially very good for them. But Perez and the team. I mean, you kept hearing Perez go, "I've got a contract. I've got a contract. I've got a contract." Like, he's not saying that for the sake of it. Like, there's clearly been discussions that's to the wider people and going, "Yeah, look, I've got a contract," and that's reminding Red Bull, "Look, you can't. If you want me out of this seat, you're gonna have to pay me handsomely." So, just watching something. What's Isaac Hadjar having a complaint about? Hang on. I agree, very cheeky. Who are they complaining about? The name Aston Martin is priceless too, well, as much as the bald thinks Lawrence Stroll is worth. Yeah, but he's like majority owner. He's nearly majority owner now, isn't he? He's got like 33, 35%, something like that. He increased his stake not too long ago. So... they needed all that money for the damages that Perez done to his cars. Yeah, exactly. Right, George Russell on a set of mediums. Of course, pole sitter here last year. How can he get on? Let's see how George gets on. Getting caught up by Alex Albon a bit. His friend, of course, Alex Albon. And Albon does let Russell out of the way as he got in the way of a few drivers today. Alex Albon, an FP1 and FP2 now. But let's see. Russell... 12.6 he's done thus far on a set of softs. Sainz is out there on a brand new set of softs. Hamilton's on a set of softs. So this could be our performance runs here, guys. That will stay tuned. But George Russell on the mediums, which is last year's soft compound tyre, the C5, as we have gone a step softer this year, comes across the line. And what does he set? Does he go sub 112? Oh, he's nearly quicker than last year's pole position. There we go. I do stream all the races this way, Nez. Yes. So, practice sessions. If you're new to the channel, guys, welcome. How we do things here. Well, practice is kind of a more chilled watch-along. We have, of course, a back and forth, as we are doing now. And we take into account what we can. I'm not a data analyst, so I don't know and dig into the detail as properly as I can on the fly, as we have Colapinto spinning again, I think, at turn 2. Exactly what he did in FP1. So he's 2 for 2 today, Colapinto. Just ruined my flow there. Let's see if he gets going again. He does indeed. So Colapinto losing the rear again, no doubt, of that Alpine car and doing exactly what he did in FP1. So FP2... But let's keep an eye on Albon. Hang on, Albon's just Albon's flying at the moment, by the way, guys. Could Albon go fastest here? Could Albon go sub 112? The Williams as Colapinto. Yes, Colapinto has lost control of the car, just like he did in FP1. As Albon. Ooh, he had a very slow last sector. What happened there with Alex Albon? As yes, Colapinto did indeed. So what happened with Albon there? Did he have a... Did he hit the barrier? No, just a slow last sector for him. What was I going to say? Yeah, so what we do here, practice sessions, is a bit more chilled, watch along, a bit back and forth, and then qualifying, I properly commentate for you. And same on Sunday with the race. But on the race on Sunday, we have a pre-race show where we have a look at all the strategy options. You can ask me some questions. We have a bit of back and forth like we do now. And then for once the race is completed, we have a post-race show and we discuss everything that happened during the race. So yeah, a whole weekend ahead of you for the F1 sessions. So, and I love it. I love doing it for you. I love doing it for you. Crolido, stop blaming the kid that doesn't enjoy or want to be there, has no way out without disappointing or having a wrath of a dad. Blame the parent investing a fortune to live their dream for their kid. Fair words. Did I watch the Rush movie about Lauda and Hunt? I have indeed, yeah. Great film. The BRM scene when Lauda improved the car by 2.4 seconds. What do I think of it? For me, that's an indication that term best driver is relative. Yeah, it's... this is the thing, isn't it? Is that what do you consider to be the best driver? Is it just maximising the car? I mean, there's so many different forms of criteria, isn't there? But I suppose back then, making the car that much quicker was probably more feasible, because there was left with, to an extent, less moving parts, you know. When is Colapinto's contract over? Well, supposedly he only had 5 races. But, I mean, do I feel sorry for the lad? I don't feel sorry for the lad to an extent, because he's been given an opportunity in F1, another opportunity in F1. And I do think he should have been on the grid at the start of the season, but it kind of came at the wrong time for him. A lot of F1, and whether you make it to F1 or not, is timing. You need to be in the right place at the right time. Many good driver have come through the ranks not at the right time, and there's just no place for them on the grid, and they very quickly get forgotten about. So Colapinto came good at kind of wrong time, good time, somewhere in between. But it's tough on him. He's come into a car that he hasn't driven before. He's done no testing in, and he's had 6 months out of F1. So very, very different. So copyright reasons, there's a bonus. Copyright reasons, you can't do it because you get banned. It's illegal. It's illegal to do so. Really like the fact that people love to ignore the pure talent from Max. Yeah, people, I've said this on this stream many times before. I may not be his biggest fan, but you have to respect the talent that he has and how quick he is. However, what lets him down? Some people will say it's brilliant, his temper. And in some sense, it is. But on the other hand, his temper can get the better of him, as we saw in Spain. And that's just, yeah, wasn't acceptable. Back in the day, survival and winning made you great. Safety was not priority. Yeah. Are McLaren generally slow this week? Don't know. It's a fair question. It's a fair question. Like, we normally don't see McLaren hold anything back this much. I mean, 1 second back. I mean, they're chatting on Sky right now about have they turned the engine down? Are they obviously maybe a little bit concerned about the reliability issues that the Mercedes engines have had? Aston Martin's seen one go pop. We've seen Kimi Antonelli have 2 issues. George Russell had an issue in Monaco as well, although I think that was more so like a knock from the curb or something. But even so, it's an issue that McLaren probably are thinking about, but we'll see. We'll see. I don't think they're sandbagging. There's definitely still plenty in the tank. Remember, it's also a track as well that, do you really want to try and be on the limit in practice when there's no room for error? No. At the end of the day. So I think they'll put in a decent time at some point. Let's keep an eye on Piastri, shall we? Norris is 10th fastest in the first sector, by the way. With that sector he's just done there. So let's keep an eye on Piastri. Norris's middle sector is green as well, but it's only 8th fastest. So at the moment, George Russell is comfortably, and Antonelli up there as well. The Mercedes are looking quick in this session. But let's keep an eye on Piastri, shall we? Norris is going to improve, but not by a lot. And let's stay on board with Piastri. So is it purple in that first sector, or is it just a green sector? It's actually slower than Lando's. So Oscar Piastri a bit slow. As there's lots of complaints out there at the moment from drivers of impeding out there. As Verstappen goes up into P6, he's on the mediums. Norris only goes up into P3. Piastri, did he get held up by Albon there? We'll see. No, 22.980. So that's quicker than Lando, only by a couple of by 1/10 actually, in the middle sector. But do we think McLaren are going to hold back until FP3 though? I think so. Yeah, I think so. You can get enough. You can still gather the data that you need to gather. By hitting target times and things like that. So you could turn down the engine mode, right? And you could still know exactly where your relative position is to everyone else, mostly. By turning the engines down, because your target time will just alter. It will just move. So instead of being half a second quicker than what it is at the moment, as Piastri just slotted ahead of Norris there, nothing to separate them really, only a couple of thousandths of a second, they can do that. So yeah, no need to go quick in FP2, really, I guess. But both Maccas on the low downforce trim this session now. Doesn't look like it's working. We'll see. I mean, the track temperature's cooling as well. That could play a factor. I said earlier on, I said if the track temperature's cool, that will play into Mercedes' favour. They'll want cooler track conditions rather than the hotter ones. Who jinxed the McLarens? Me. Sorry. Yuki not performing at the moment. No. Oh, wow. Yeah, he's down there in P16 at the moment, isn't he? Last I looked, he was P10. He's out there on the lap now, though. 20.3. That's a good lap. That's a good first sector. Well, I say that. It's 13th. But the tyre, you don't want to take too much life out of the tyre in the first sector because you'll have nothing when you need it out of the turn 10 hairpin. As Colapinto and Lawson noted for impeding as Albon goes P9 on a set of mediums. Sonoda slower in the middle sector. Oh my God, Sonoda, what are you doing? Yeah, Sonoda's struggling at the moment as Norris has gone purple. Oh, who said you haven't seen a purple sector yet from McLaren? There we go. Lando's just turned it on. He's got the stream. He's got the stream in his earpiece. He's like, watch this stuff is Watchalong. Watch this, chat. Watch this. 22.886. That puts him third fastest, but only by a couple of hundredths of a second back from George Russell. So as it stands, this is going to be fastest. It's going to be sub 112 maybe. Let's see how he gets on, Lando, as he makes his way for the Water Champions and down to the finish line. And what time is this? Oh, nearly a 112.151. So he lost a little bit of time in that last sector. But George Russell likes it here, doesn't he? He likes it. If you don't wear your Ferrari gear next session, you're unsubscribing. We'll see. Yuki's, in your opinion, better than Lawson, but still think Daniel would have been better. I don't know. I think Daniel had gone past it, to be honest. I think we're all kind of hoping that it was the Daniel of old, but Daniel was never the same after McLaren. Renault, he was still a decent driver. He could still put in decent performances, and I think he still had that confidence on the brakes. But yeah, as soon as he went to McLaren, something happened there. Lost his confidence altogether. Is Charles going out on this one? No, he's not in this one, Angelo, because he crashed in FP1. He broke, obviously, a lot to his car and suspension damage. And the big one is the chassis, done damage to his chassis. So that's why he's not in this session. They can't repair it in time. So he'll be back for FP3 tomorrow. You like Russell as long as he doesn't take his shirt off. I know, it all makes us feel a bit insecure, doesn't it? How strong is the toe going to be? The toe is going to be powerful here, for sure. The toe will be definitely powerful. So if you can give the toe at the end of the lap, more so at the start of the lap, because that long run from turn 11, or the exit of turn 10 down to turn 13, can gain you a considerable amount of time, for sure. But it can also be a detriment to you because you can have an overspeed that you're not familiar with and you can outbrake yourself. Like there's a lot that can... having a toe... Oh, as Fernando Alonso had a moment through turn 8. Took to the grass. Oh my goodness, who was that? Oh, was that Gasly or Colapinto? That was Gasly. Oh my goodness, he got some dirty air off of Lando Norris, who was off the racing line. He was okay, Lando, but Gasly, wow, snap of oversteer as he was on the exit, nearly went into the wall of turn 4. Jesus. There's 3 DRS zones here, I believe. Let me just keep an eye on Alex Albon. Yeah, 3 DRS zones. So you have one down the start-finish straight, and then you have one down turn 7 to turn 8, and then you have one down the back straight, which is turn 11. Well, turn 12, I think, is when the DRS is actually activated to turn 13. Imagine if they make Jack Doohan come back. No, I don't think so. The problem with Jack Doohan is that he didn't bring enough money with him. That's pretty much the crux of it. Whereas Colapinto brings in a shed load of cash. So, yeah, I think Colapinto will be there to the end of the season. I don't think they're going to get rid of him anytime soon. Unless they're looking to bring in Sergio Perez, which is a possibility, apparently. Albon across the line on a set of softs as well. That's not bad. Up into, well, I say softs of last year, guys. The medium is the soft compound tyre of last year, as we're a step softer this year. C4, C5 and C6 are the tyres that we are using. It was a shame to see Daniel fade away like that. I was hyped to see him come back after McLaren. Yeah, it was just never the same. You saw flashes of it, but yeah, I think he's also a driver, Daniel, who struggled to... I think if you think of Daniel Ricciardo's driving style, it was very much like he loved the nimble car. He loved the car. Like his trademark move was like the cutbacks, the switchbacks, and the switchbacks, the fake, the dumming, late on the brakes. Like he felt comfortable in those cars, and then you saw it at McLaren because I think it was. Did he join 2021? Was it 21 he joined? He said 1 year of those regs. And then 22, the car, McLaren wasn't very good. I think he's someone who struggled with these big, heavy ground effect era cars. And he just lost all the confidence that he even had any that he had remaining. When they bring one more team into F1, the circuits will be like the A406 in rush hour. Are you the only one that keep getting George Russell advertising moose cases on YouTube? Or mouse cases? Just you, Drew. Just you. Remember, like your advertisements are tailored to you, so you must be looking at too many George Russell pictures online. Perez will join Cadillac. I think he'll join Cadillac, yeah. Brings in a lot of money as well, Mark. And he's a decent set of... He's a safe pair of hands. If you want like a stable driver, I mean, I know I'm saying Perez and stable in the same breath there, but if you look at him when he was in his Force India days and when he was in the midfield, he was a stable pair of hands. And yeah, he'll be able to take that team probably forward, I think. Most teams splitting soft-medium strategy between drivers. Have we learned anything more? Seems that they are mastering the true soft more. Yeah, so I think there's some elements. So I think there's definitely a track temperature element that is playing into effect here, Crolito. So as we mentioned, what you have to be more focused on here at Montreal is the tyre, the thermal degradation, so the tyre temperatures. So because you've got obviously the high traction zones or high rear traction zones, because you've got the very slow corners and you want to focus on acceleration, you have to limit the rear spinning up. And what that does is that it means that you can't push so hard out of the corners that your front tyres, of course, struggle to get up to temperature, which is why we're seeing lockups and so forth. But I think as the track temperature cools, that, of course, is going to allow you to look after those rear tyres a bit better when you can lean on them a bit more out of the corners. So I think that's why the soft tyre has helped a bit. Why the soft tyre doesn't look so bad in this session, and also why George Russell in Mercedes, who we know, we don't know why, is still a car that likes the cooler conditions more so than the hotter conditions. That's why we're seeing George and Kimi up there at the moment. Not to take anything away from their abilities, of course, but I think that's a characteristic of Mercedes. So if it is hot qualifying tomorrow, 40 plus degrees, Mercedes may struggle. If it's like this now, then we could see them fighting for the front row. He keeps saying it's the best pack he's ever had. Which free practice is the quality time equivalent? This one, supposedly, because it's in the it doesn't mean it's going to be a like for like, but it's the afternoon, it's the same time. So yeah, FP2 is always like the most relative session. Anyone going to end up in the Water Champions this weekend? I'm going to say yes. I'm going to say yes. I think it may be one of the big boys. I think they get caught pushing too hard. Kimi's up 10 places compared to FP1. Yeah, I mean, FP1 was a very different session to this. Lots of teams were struggling with the tyres, with the temperatures. They were struggling to find that balance, of course, of leaning on it and pushing on the fronts to get the temperatures. We saw lots of lockups, lots of twitches, lots of snaps. So, yeah. Top 7 cars are all powered by Mercedes. They are indeed. Yes, they are. Very well spotted. Max Verstappen down in 9th at the moment. He hasn't done... Has he done any running on the soft yet, though, Max Verstappen? He has done brief... Oh, sorry. He has done briefly. Yeah, he did do a couple of runs on the soft. Who do I think regrets bringing their upgrades the most today? I don't know. To be honest with you, I'm a little bit out of the loop of what updates are here this weekend from what team. So I'm not... Yeah, I'm not really best suited to say that. Do I think Max can be ruled out of Championship now after Spain? No. I still think he's in it. I think if Max could quite comfortably go and win 3 races in a row. If, like, the McLarens tangle... if they have mechanical issues, like we've seen Max dig deep, of course, and there are still enough circuits where the Red Bull, I think, will still be the best car, or at least on par with the McLaren. And I think Max will capitalise on those. Spain wasn't one of those. We know that where there's tracks where the Red Bull, where there's tracks where we know tyre deg is going to be an issue, the Red Bull is going to struggle compared to the McLarens. But there's enough circuits still where the deg isn't really going to be too much of an issue, so Max can still get those results. It's just whether or not he's able to keep up the mentality and the drive to keep himself in the championship, you know? Because it's very easy, I imagine, to just kind of not care so much anymore. My prediction for quali tomorrow, TC, is... I still think it's going to be a McLaren 1-2. I think... I'm going to go Norris P1, Piastri P2. Let's back Norris. Keep the championship interesting. Okay, let's do this. Norris P1, Russell P2, Piastri P3. With less than a tenth separating them. There you go. Or it could be vice versa. I think Russell will be second. Which McLaren's in first or third? Take your pick. But I think the top 3 will be separated by less than a tenth. Album Magic. Do I believe Max will go to Mercedes next year? No, I don't think Max will leave Red Bull this year. At all. I think... end of 2026, maybe. Yes. But not this year. Because, like, Red Bull could come out being the fastest car again. At the start of this set of regs, everyone thought it was going to be Mercedes who were the team. Like, there was so many rumours that Red Bull have spent so much time in their development for 2021, and they haven't really focused so much on 2022 and the new regs. Oh, how wrong we were, because they dominated it. Like, the most dominant package in F1 history. There's nothing to say that won't be the same again. In when the new set of regs come around. So why would Max leave now? Unless he seriously knows something behind the scenes and knows the development of that engine is just going to pop. Yeah. Don't know what McLaren is testing, but it's sure testing our patience. Well, 14 minutes remaining. We've got everyone pretty much out there on the mediums right now, apart from Alonso's just coming on the softs. So... yeah, I think everyone's done their push laps now. Is Red Bull using Honda engines next year? No, they're going to Ford. Ford and Red Bull powertrains. Honda is moving to Aston Martin. They're moving away from Mercedes. Alpine is moving away, of course, from Renault. They're not making their own engines anymore, so it will be Honda engine... no, Mercedes engines, sorry, and Mercedes gearboxes at Alpine. So you're going to have Ferrari, power units, Mercedes power units, Honda are doing one team. You've got Ford, and that's it. And then in 2028, 29, I think 29. I think 29 is when. Oh yeah, of course you've got the RB car will be using it as well. But I think Cadillac are bringing their own engine in 2029. They're using Ferrari engines for now. So. The full deal was EV assistance stickers and money. It's more than EV assistance though, isn't it? Is it more than that? Sounds like Love Island F1 version with all these engine divorces. Hang on, just watching something. Oh, Max Verstappen took to the escape road through the Wall of Champions. He's not happy in that Red Bull. He's not happy in that Red Bull at the moment, Max. Hang on. The brakes, when they are a little bit cold, they don't bite. It's worse than FP1. Yeah, Max not happy. So temperature's an issue at the moment for Max Verstappen and many others out there as well. Audi. How did I forget Audi? Sorry, Audi. And we've got Audi, yes, taking over Stake F1. Sauber, whatever name they go under. Yes, Audi are arriving. Apologies about that. We're really getting full hate right now. I thought people stopped that. Audi is apparently making their own engine. I believe they took over the Porsche IP. Yes, yeah. So, well, this is the thing, right? So the 2026 regs right now, the engine regs are only the way that they are because Porsche and Red Bull forced the FIA's hand. There was going to be a Porsche and Red Bull power unit, and that was Porsche's way back into the sport. And then Porsche backed out of it. They backed out of it, and we were then stuck. We're now stuck with all these new regs that no team really likes. So we'll see. 2028, you think, for their new engine? I think that was initially what was going to be the case, Steve-O, but then I think they pushed it back to 2029. There was some article that came out about it. Hang on. GM Motors F1 engine. I think it got pushed back. 2029 season, yes. It was initially going to be 2028, but it's been approved for 2029. And that, what did it say? It said that approval being 2029. There's that basically kind of gives the game away on potentially these current engines only being used for 3 seasons, or these new seasons only being used for 3 seasons. So we could see a completely brand new engine, a complete change up of the power unit in 2029. Not that long. So, because it was initially going to be 2028. When you were yelling Audi, my brain was Alonso. Evening, Carl. Good to see you. There was a rumour that Toyota was going to come back to F1 as an engine supplier to start with. Have I heard anything? No. So, of course, the technical partnership with Haas, I still think that's what will happen. I still think Toyota they've dipped their toe back into the water with the technical partnership with Haas, and I think eventually they'll buy Haas. How that will work logistically, I don't know, but I think they'll maybe become like... Yeah, I think they'll get back into F1 through Haas, like fully. It's cheaper to buy a team than it is. I mean, look at how much of an issue Cadillac have had trying to get into, or Andretti trying to get back into, bring a team to F1. I think they definitely want you to buy existing teams rather than the other way around. So, yeah, I think that's what they'll do. But no further news since then. In 26, it's 50-50. But do you think in 20... Well, it's 50-50 right now, but there's discussions, in-depth discussions about transferring it to potentially 60-40 or 70-30, because the 50-50 distribution has seen the battery usage run out and deplete. They've been seeing them run out of battery storage before they even finish a straight, I think down Monza or something, and they're not achieving top speeds barely higher than an F2 car or something like that. Like it's... and then what that does is that the way that the cars then have to regenerate the battery means that you've got to brake considerably. Like, it's just an absolute crap show, to be honest with you. So they're looking at that. So you think Toyota will face fewer hurdles than Cadillac? Maybe, Andy. I think it's more so the cost. It might be so the cost, because it's not just obviously. It's not just the fact of that, okay, you've got to pay the 300 million to get in or whatever and jump through all the hoops that the FAA want, but it's then also, I know Toyota obviously are massive, but they're a whole F1 manufacturing facility, like, they'd have to build new ones, so that costs money. Whereas if you've got facilities already there and built, it's probably cheaper in the long run and more cost efficient to do that, but buy a team, so... 22 massive F1 cars are going to be a nightmare for Monaco traffic. They're a bit smaller next year. Only a little bit, but they're a bit smaller. If they do, I think they'll dominate with their hybrid technology. Are we going to have more horsepower with engine or less horsepower? I think slightly less horsepower, but of course the power to weight ratio is kind of like similar. So don't quote me on that. But I think so, because obviously they still have an ego thing of F1 wanting to be like the fastest motorsport out there. You watched a documentary about Toyota when they last joined. Apparently their ethos was to stick to the rules rather than pushing the limits, which is what F1 is about. Yeah, well, I guess that's kind of Japanese culture, isn't it? Like respect and so forth. Haas don't have any manufacturing facilities to give Toyota. Sorry, yeah, because they get all their parts from Ferrari. Most of their parts from Ferrari, don't they? Then maybe it will. Yeah, maybe they will come in. I don't know. I still think they'll buy a Haas. But yeah. What about reducing down to 850 max? Oh, I don't know. As I said, we're getting into the territory of where I'm not properly read up upon of the 2026 regs. I've kind of not paid too much attention to them yet until they're kind of really going to be fully and finalised. There's no point wasting your time to an extent of what the regs are at the moment, because I still think they're going to change quite a bit. So they never use the F1 technologies in the Prius. The Prius can move, man. They need 3-litre V10s and sustainable fuel. Maybe in the future, Joe. I think Ford just announced that they're not. They put out a statement or something saying that any future amendments to Formula One engines have to include some electrification. Otherwise, they won't be a part of F1. So, why so many ads lately? I haven't got automatic ads turned on, by the way. You should only get one ad in... Hang on. You should only get one ad in the... when you join. I get to choose when ads are appearing, so... And I haven't selected anything, so I'm not sure what happens. Not sure what happened there, or what's happening there. You should only get the one where, like, you know, the skippable one, I think it is, when you join. So, thanks, guys, for including it. You can put ads in streams if you want to, mister. Yeah. Will they race today after the practice or another day? They won't race today. No, this is the last session. Not really much to write home about, to be completely honest with you. Thank you for the sub, Hobby Town Chili and Koi. That's a name. I had to read that one out because that made me giggle. Hobby Town Chili and Koi. Thank you for the sub. Thank you for subbing, by the way, guys. Yeah, trying to hit 50k. Nearly at 47,000. Have as many as you need, Stuffeyy. It's good for revenue. Look, ads are good for revenue. Of course they are. But ultimately, it interrupts the flow of the streams. I don't like ads on live streams. So when I go to Twitch, it's my absolute bugbear is that there's like 3 minutes of ads at the start. Or even in the middle. That's just annoying. So try and limit them as much as you can and make your money elsewhere, you know. I don't mind people who've got sponsors and then they do like an in-ad like thing, you know, as things are going on. But something that's like natural. I don't want to take you guys away from the stream, you know. Product placement, yeah, well, I'm trying, Anthony. I'm trying to get product placement. It's a bit more difficult than it seems. But yeah, that product placements and stuff. That doesn't interrupt the flow of the live stream at the end of the day. So I sometimes do, Alf, when I go for a loo. Yeah, but I don't do that all the time. So thank you, Hobby, much appreciated. Oh, track slippery surface in turn 12. What happened in turn 12? But yeah, coming to the end of this session, guys. 2 minutes 30 remaining of FP2. Nothing really to write home about. A track surface slippery in Sector 2. Sector 12. Why is that being thrown? What's going on there through turn 12? It's a bit odd. But yeah, nothing really to write home about. George Russell set a very good lap time. Lando Norris in P2 there. Piastri, not really able to set a decent lap. Maybe the McLaren sandbagging a bit. Maybe they've got their engines turned down. Of course, the Mercedes Mercedes power units have had issues over the last 3 race weekends. So maybe consciously just saving for tomorrow. Still expect them to be strong. But if the track temperatures are cooler, as they were last year when George Russell got on pole position, I think George and that Mercedes is looking good. And don't rule out Kimi Antonelli, of course. He's not shy of a decent lap, as we saw in Miami for his sprint pole. So I wouldn't, Ryan, no. Yeah, that really annoyed me. I think it was last year. For the first time, I noticed, Glenn, that there were ads in practice. And I was like, what? When did this become a thing? When was there ads in practice? Maybe it's because I've been doing the watch-alongs for so long, I didn't notice that there were actually ads in practice. But yeah, I was like, how dare they? Thank you, Ted. Much appreciated. Yeah, not too long to go. 1 minute remaining. Not really too much to write home about, of course. The big thing is Lance Stroll. Just drove into the wall. Wait until you see it. I gave him the benefit of the doubt. I thought he maybe had a snap of oversteer, was maybe a bit too aggressive out of turn 7. I can forgive a driver for that because there's very fine margins here very fine margins here. Who is that getting in the way? Oh my god! Oh my goodness, who was that? Bortoletto and the Williams of Albon or Sainz? Was it Albon again? They both took to the escape road of the last chicane. What are they doing? They just nearly had a collision. I think that was Sainz. Oh my goodness, what are they doing? Sorry to scare everyone there. Checkered flag, guys, checkered flag. Oh. Who do I think is going to win on Sunday? I still think one of the McLarens. But Piastri has something in that car that's got the edge. Yeah, I mean, look, don't rule them out. I still think they've got their engines turned down. I think I'll listen to some interviews between now and tomorrow, see if I can find out some information for you guys, of course, for FP3, which we'll be back for, and then qualifying in the evening, UK time, that is. But yes, interesting. There's Charles Leclerc crashed in FP1. That's why he didn't race today. Participate in FP2. Lance Stroll, as we mentioned, just basically drove into the wall. Lapse of concentration. But there's been lots of impeding here. I wonder if we'll see maybe some grid penalties. We have seen them in the past, where grid penalties have been dished out here at Canada for impeding. Of course, it's a short lap here, only 1 minute 12, and there's lots of high-speed sections, so need to be careful. Need to be very, very careful. I appreciate it, bro vids. I haven't been quite doing this for the last 21 years. That would means I would have been doing this since I was 12. But I appreciate the support nonetheless. So yeah, thank you guys. Please continue to hit the subscribe button. It's much appreciated. Another great stream. Thank you. Was there Friday penalties in Spain? No. No one got a grid penalty in Spain. But it's quite a wide open circuit. Longer lap time. This one, not so much. We have seen, I think Carlos Sainz always ends up with a grid penalty here. I think he's ended up with a grid penalty 2 years in a row here. So, yeah, hopefully it's not going to be third time's a charm for for Carlos Sainz. But I'll be back here again tomorrow. Of course I am. Of course I am. But yes, let's have a rundown of the FP2 session, shall we? George Russell with a 112.123 there at the top in the slightly cooler track conditions than what we saw in FP1. They'll be hoping for similar track conditions tomorrow, no doubt, when it comes to qualifying. Lando Norris in P2 finally set a half decent lap, or I say a half decent, a decent lap. There in P2, just under half a tenth back from George Russell. Kimi Antonelli, don't rule him out maybe tomorrow if we see track temps similar to this in P3. Alex Albon, the Williams have looked quick here thus far today. Albon in P4, 3 temps back. Alonso P5, Piastri P6 as we think maybe just dialing the engine modes back a little bit. McLaren with those issues that Mercedes power units have had previously. Sainz in P7. Hopefully he doesn't get a grid place penalty for impeding after he nearly went into the side of Gabriel Bortoleto there at the end of FP2. Hamilton, nothing really to write home about with Lewis Hamilton in P8. I think 5 to 3 temps is where we normally expect unfortunately the Ferrari to be right now, back from the front. Verstappen in P9, he's struggling in that Red Bull at the moment, but we know how often he struggles on a Friday and then turns it around on a Saturday. Lawson and Hadjar, not a lot to separate those two. Lawson may be finding a bit more confidence now, but of course we know Hadjar has the edge over him, especially when it comes to qualifying on the Saturday. In 11th, Gasly in P12, Bortoleto 13th, Hulkenberg 14th, Tsunoda struggling in 15th, Behrman and Ocon. What's up with Haas? They've been I've forgotten they've even been on track, to be honest with you, for today in 16th and 17th. Colapinto in 18th. Stroll, as we've mentioned, crashed out there and Leclerc didn't participate. And that is it, guys, for this session. Yeah, that's basically it. How many teams introduced updates this weekend? Not sure, to be honest. I will have a look. I've been a bit out of the loop with updates for this week. So what time am I streaming tomorrow, Alf? We will be live. Let's have a look at the session, shall we? We'll be live tomorrow, 5:15 UK time. So I'm going to go set the stream up. So you can go bookmark that. You can go leave it open in your browser. Or just turn your notification on. Press the bell button and you'll be notified half an hour before the stream goes live. So, yeah, you won't ever miss a stream. But, yeah, we'll be live 15 minutes before practice. And then qualifying is at 9 o'clock tomorrow UK time. That is it, guys, pretty much. That is it. Not really too much to write home about. So, why is Franco so slow? Don't know. Don't know why I laughed there, to be honest with you guys. Sorry. Was it a nervous laugh? I don't know. Yeah, don't know why Colapinto's so slow. He's just struggling, isn't he? Just struggling. No worries, Alf. No worries. Piastri spark fading? No. Stay tuned for qualifying tomorrow. I still think, as I said, you could swap them around, but I think the McLarens will be split by George Russell in P2. I think Norris will be P1 personally. Norris will be P1, Russell P2, Piastri P3. Could quite easily swap the two McLarens. You know how close it's been. And I think qualifying will be separated by less than a tenth between the top three. Alpine really messed up this season. I wonder why he's struggling to adapt when he was able to pick up the Williams much better. It could be the power unit, as we've mentioned. So the power unit of, as Carlos Sainz has said, moving from Ferrari to Mercedes, and likewise Hamilton to Ferrari from Mercedes. He's moving from a Mercedes unit to a Renault power unit. So that's completely different, and the car as well. And his confidence has probably been knocked a little bit from his crash in Imola. And then he's gone to Monaco. and then he's gone to Spain, and now he's here where there's no room for error. So, yeah, tough tracks for him. Tough tracks. Yeah, she's in the other room now, Dusko. Yeah, she's asleep. But yeah, that's it, guys. I am going to call it an evening. Thank you, as always, for tuning in. We'll be live tomorrow, as we mentioned, 5:15 UK time, 15 minutes before the practice session gets underway. And yeah, we'll be in for an interesting qualifying, I think. Let's see what it has in store for us. Charles Leclerc, do expect them to get that car fixed, as will Lance Stroll as well. It was only suspension damage, but Charles Leclerc definitely will be back for FP3, but he's going to be on the back foot, isn't he? But yeah, have a lovely rest of your Friday, guys, or your Saturday if you're in the future, and we will see you tomorrow. Bye.